You know, the people are kissing, as they kiss and they have babies. So these are kids' pieces.
Well, this one is more idyllic. But I picked it because it served a purpose, especially during the time that I produced it. No, I grew up, I was a child of the 50s, and I was very conscious of the fact that children's books didn't have anybody who looked like me in them. And that has hugely influenced what I've chosen to paint about and how I've chosen to portray my figures. So I admit that this is idyllic. I think this was probably during an era when I was very much in love with the work of the Impressionists, and wanted, believe it or not, I actually went through a period of time that I probably would not have acknowledged it to others, but whenever I saw an image that was done by the Impressionists, I wanted to know if it would feel the same when the faces were replaced with faces that looked like mine. And even though I realized that in a sense, I was making their worldview the standard and then measuring myself against it, it's almost as if I couldn't get out of that space unless I went through that space. So,
well, that's a good strategy.
Well, it was the only one because it was the only thing I knew to do. I was trained in a world with European standards. I was a Black woman that went through that, who studied those artists, who walked away and tried to figure out who I was. But when the moment of consciousness came that that's in fact what I was doing, there was a great deal amount of shame that came with that somehow I could not have just jumped that stage and just went on and found a self that was myself.
And how would you define that moment? I mean, what made you different after that?
I think that the awareness of it, for instance, Mary Cassatt did the painting of her combing a child's hair. I'd done mine, and then what I actually started to do was put them alongside each other. I question now, did I want to know whether or not I was technically as good as, if I was proficient, exactly what was going on during that period of time. And of course, when you try to look back, you don't have a way of knowing if you're rewriting the story as you look back and coming up with reasons for why you did it. But I was aware of going through the process, and I was aware of a kind of disappointment in myself, and I realized that I resented the fact that theirs was the standard, and yet it was the standard that I was measuring against, even though I resented that that's what was happening.
So I can infer from that. Can I infer from that you have now abandoned that standard? You're on your own standard?
Yeah, I think I grew out of it. I think confronting it, realizing that that's what was happening, was a big step towards going and finding a way that was more mine and a message that was mine, that had less to do with another narrative and more what I wanted from my art. So, every day waking up wanting to be better and better and better. And one day the question was, what do you want to be better for? What's the end game? What do you want at the end? You just want to be better for the sake of it, or is this somewhere else? And that was the beginning of, no, I have a message. I have something that I want to impart to a specific audience. And then it was much easier to begin to find my own way. Still, I'm surprised how long it took to get to that.
Let's scroll through these others.